but I came here when I was 11 to live with my mum.
Right.
Yeah, she married a Coorong bloke, and that's how we come to being down here. Yeah.
And then the rest is history, isn't it?
The rest is history. In my time, I reminisced. My grandmother, she did a lot of the weaving around us as children, but never shared it with us, but it was around us, and therefore we just picked it up very easy, and we're still here weaving today, so we're very thankful Aunty Dori sharing that with us. So it's really, really important to us. And weaving, to sit and weave is very important time. To go out and pick these rushes, it's a very important time. And think about the stories that got told while they sat and weaved. That's very, very special. You know, because everything they made, they used, it was all based on survival. You know, the fish nets, the fish traps, the fish coops, the baskets to gather food, the big mats to sit on, the back warmers, and the baskets to gather food. So everything they made, they used, it was all based on survival.
Actually, all our heritage work is all based on storytelling and laughter. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Ah, yeah.
When I'm sharing the weaving, I always like to open up this book because it's documented for our children and their children, and we're able to share it. And the old lady here is my great-great-grandmother, Queen Louisa, and the old one here, this old photo, is my great-grandmother. And the photo down here is my grandmother's sister, Nana Laura, and my mother, myself, and Tom and I had one daughter, and that's Ellie, the granddaughter, and Tanya's daughter. But all of us are weavers, and that's how all our families are, a cycle of weavers. And one thing, it's really good for us to be able to share with groups and with this book, these pictures. But the thing is, it's like that with all families. It's a cycle of weavers. With our land, you know, we've got to fix it. If we don't fix it, what are we going to leave behind for the kids and their kids? You know, it goes on.
Like there will be a substitute for the rushes that we use now, but it is still good to have a traditional fibre that we use, but we'll be using probably a garden twine or something that we're using now to substitute to what we've got here. But
it's really good is that when you go out on the land, you take the children out on the land and pick these rushes, a part of the drying process. The children are a part of it, and then when you're ready to soak and sit down and weave, the children are a part of it. And if you're not able to share that with them, you know, where's their future go? You know, because you're able to pass that on. And I thoroughly enjoy going out onto the land to pick the rushes, and I reminisce on our old people, because everything they made, they used, it's all based on survival. You go down and pull them out like that.
Yeah. Give us a look.
Depending on how strong your hands are.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you get calluses?
Oh, it toughens your hand up. Okay, you go down.
And then you pick them from the base there.
Yep. Okay.
Nice.
Like that.
Yeah.
And these are nice thick ones. A good centre rush is these ones. But there's also some thin ones, okay, weaving ones. So you have a mixture of them in amongst the bundle.
Yep.
Yeah. But sometimes it's always good to pick all the thick ones at once, and then separate them from the thin ones. Because sometimes you can grab a bundle and there's too many thick ones and not enough weaving ones. And by us picking these rushes, we're helping them to grow. Like that, that's a bundle. We tie them. And that's the process.
Great.
And we dry them out like that. And what we do is we give them a shape and then we come across and we turn them. And when we're ready to weave with them quicker, we soak them for at least half an hour to an hour to make them flexible to weave with.
Okay. And just in water?
Yeah, we just soak them in hot water, softens them very quick. So you think about all the time and effort that goes into the weaving, you think of all the stories that got told, how important it was. And of course, the blokes weaved. So you think about the stories that got told and when they came together. You think about the stories that got told. So a lot of time and effort went into making the baskets or the nets and things like that. So it's really, really important part of their lifestyle. So there's my centre bit, and what I'm going to choose now is a thin one to weave with.
Centre bit.
That's the centre bit there. So that's the thickness. I'm going to work it. Right, and what I'm going to do now is put the first stitch on, and if you take notice, I'm a right-hander. I place it there like that, and I'm working away from myself. I go over to my left. Now see I've made that loop? Bring it up through and tie a knot. And that's the very first stitch. And what I do is go over, under, and bring it up through. Over. Now in our teaching, we usually do about 10 or 20 stitches, but you can put as many as you want on, depending on the size and the shape of your basket or the pattern that you make on your mat. Now what I'm going to show you is a don't. If you go like that, don't go like that. Don't bring it up through there like that, always bring it straight up. And see I'm creating the outside loops. Now what I need to do is create a corner. And by doing that, I grab hold of the stitches and I turn it. And see how I've created that turn? Now what I need to do is put some stitches on that side. And by doing that, I grab hold of it, I go through that loop on the other side, down under, and bring it up through. See? And I work my way back to the very first stitch I've put on there. Now you can see I've run out of a lacing, a weaving one.
Yeah.
What you need to do is choose another thin one out of the bundle. Like I said, cut some points makes it so much quicker and easier. But see I've left that last stitch loose. All you do is put it in under, pull that one tight, lay it down, and away you go.
Fantastic.
Right?
Yeah, that's great.
Now, if the stitches are too close, there's a skewer, open them up. So I'm working my way back to the very first stitch that I've put on there. Now I'm back to the very first stitch I've put on there. Through. Right?
Show that up close there.
Yep, see? So I turn it. And then I make my connection into that very first loop that I've put on there. Through, down under, and bring it up through. Through, down under, and bring it up through. So they're the stages of the very starting of the weaving. This is going to turn out to be a mat or a base of your basket. And that's the finished piece. So my main aim in life was to keep this basket weaving going and to carry it on and teach. Over time I've made a lot of items in my early bit, but I used to travel to schools to do some basket weaving once I've been shown, and travel to the schools, but having Camp Coorong, what a better place to work from. I don't do so many travels out, and having Camp Coorong has been really good for us, and I teach the basket weaving here. If I can work towards exhibitions, I'm happy with that. So, or if I can go to other schools, I'm happy with that. And I encourage our young ones to be a part of it. So I have to really thank Camp Coorong and the Ngarrindjeri Land and Progress Association, and to where we are today. It brought us a long way. From day one, the Aboriginal Lands Trust that bought the property.
It wouldn't have happened if the Aboriginal Lands Trust hadn't bought the property, right?
Back in '86, you know, and so it's grown to where we are today. So it's really important. We've got to thank the people involved. You know, one thing with George and Tom, you know, Tom and George had a big impact on this place, and you know, they've left behind legacies, and we've got to continue it on. You know, right down to my weaving. Tom saw that when I'm working towards an exhibition, I found it very hard to put down. You know, in my early days, the rushes ended up in the bed, so he was a pretty patient bloke, Tom was. You know, it ended up, you know, we'd be sitting back yarning, and I'd be weaving sitting up in the bed. You know, it's one of those things, just like when people take knitting to bed, you know, one of those things. But the weaving had a big impact on our family life, and of course we made a lot of items over the time, and we got to think of all of the gifts that we've given out over our time. So someone's got something of ours out there, and our young ones appreciate it. They appreciate the weaving, and once the young ones are taught to weave, they understand the time and effort that goes into making a basket or a mat. With Tom, he gave us that strong guidance to continue on with what we're doing. You know, like I said, they've left a legacy behind, and most importantly is when we weave, those stories come out, and we've got to keep it there. And like Tom would say, we've got to document it. It's got to go in a book. It's got to go on a camera. You know, it's gone that way. We need to do it. Whereas our old fellas always told the story, and because we're losing too many of our elders, it's very, very hard. So we need to keep documenting what we've got, like what we are doing today. We've got to document and leave something behind for the children to continue on with it. They'll have the memories. As they grow, they'll say, yeah, this is the way we've done it. And they won't forget it because it's been put in place. And like Tom, he's done a lot over his time. He's done a lot. It's hard without him. It's really hard, but he continued on with his work. He did his teaching, he did his office work, he went to many meetings to keep the story going, to continue it on. He was a person for the land, which turned into computer work. You know, he had to go at everything, anything and everything, and the land meant a lot to him. He's the bird life, you know, it meant a lot to him. His Ngarrindjeri, you know, the Ngarrindjeri of our area. The river problems, the Coorong problems, the land problems, meant a lot to Tom, and in a big way. And he's always there for us. He was always there to make things happen.
You know, I'm more the basket weaver, and Aunty Elle still teaching me.
Yeah.
It's amazing, some of the stories, you know, and it helps me get a bit of understanding on how lucky, you know, we are, you know. But then again, I always sometimes think how lucky they were too, because, you know, that's something I would have never experienced, living on the land and, you know, having the elders before my time too, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, Debbie, that's your award. You see, your invitation. You got another award, babe. It's an honour that you've gone this far, and it's for the Arts and Creative Industries Award, sponsored by the Doctor Group, the Murraylands and Riverland Group. It's wonderful to see you get another award. Just moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Deb, you also mentioned to me that, you know, you wanted to be able to capture this so that you could actually have some footage to show. And this, you know, when Aunty Ellen goes.
Yeah, especially with our main groups that come in, they've got that option to watch Aunty Ellen. You know, the ones that we have here throughout the year, they always come back. So they've got that option to see her on TV, you know, on the screen, and, you know, be taught that way, or by us next ones that are going to step up. Yeah.
And where do you see your role is in the next, you know, 20, 30 years then?
I hope to be just like Aunty Elle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just weave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Group, either be with groups or, you know, just sitting around with my own mob, or, you know, or myself. We'll still have our traditional pieces that we do, and, you know, the older pieces, but, you know, who knows, it can go. You know, we're into doing bangles and earrings and lampshades and, you know, hats. Never know where it's going to take us.
We've got Camp Coorong, and a lot of hard work, a lot of stories, a lot of time and effort has gone into Camp Coorong, and the sharing of our culture. I want our young ones to keep it going. We will always continue on for the best for our children and their children, and that's important for us, isn't it? You know?
So you've got 3 generations. Tom standing on your side, and going through, and you onto me onto Deb, to her mum and dad.
Yeah, so just keep it.
There's
just
3
keep
generations
it going.
here.
Yeah, just keep it going.
From here.
You know, you've experienced all the elders that have gone in your time with us working with our culture. You know, you've experienced the loss, and you've experienced the stories. You've been a part of all of that, and we just continue that journey, because, you know, Uncle Tom and Uncle George, their legacy that they've left behind, we just keep it going.
Yeah.
I am going to carry it on. Yeah. So I've got a lot of respect for my elders, my 2 uncles, and I will make sure that I pass it on. I'll keep it going.